A man once came in to the Lubavitcher Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the leader of what's called the Chabad Chassidic movement. And he came with a complaint. People came from all over the world to ask the Lubavitcher Rebbe questions and wrote to him letters. The Rebbe used to receive more letters than any person in the world. They say even more than the President of the United States. But he also used to receive people for private audiences. And this man came in with a problem. He said, Rabbi, I have a bad temper. I lose my temper. I've taken classes, read books, and it doesn't seem to help. So the Rebbe said, well, perhaps you should go and seek psychiatric help. He said, no, Rabbi, I do that. I do that, but it's really sometimes very bad. I even get mad at my son, my child. The Rebbe said, that's something, a person gets angry, that's what happens, you should. So he said, but Rabbi, sometimes I even hit my child. The Rebbe said to him, you hit your child? He said, tell me, do you have an anger problem? Probably other things also make you angry. The next door neighbor's children, they also make you angry? Yes, of course, if they make a lot of noise. Do you ever hit them? He said, no, of course not. I can't hit my next door neighbor. They'll put me in jail. So, well, why don't you hit your next door neighbor's children? I don't understand. You get mad at them. He said, because they're not my children. The Rebbe said, well, your son is also not your child. He belongs to God. God is creating us all. And your son is not yours. Your son is God's. What does the story mean? The story means don't look at the world from only your point of view. Look at the world also from a bigger point of view. If you try to control too much, it ends up that you're fooling yourself. Because in the end, the only one thing that a person can possibly control is himself. Those who try to control others, perhaps for a while it works, you can control a person's actions. Perhaps you can even control the person's speech, but you can't control the person inside of the person. Only a person himself can control himself. And that you can only also do with the help of some power that's above you. Some power of meaning that a person sees, which will encourage him to realize that he's lost his perspective on life. And instead of seeing the big picture, he sees only the small picture. And by seeing the small picture, a person becomes angry when he can't control the uncontrollable, when he can't control the whole universe. In fact, all we have is the present moment to control. The actions are on us. We are obligated to act properly, speak properly, to think properly, to think according to values, speak according to values, to act according to certain values. But what is going to be the outcome? That's in the hands of God. Or for those who don't believe in God, it's in the hands of nature. But for one thing for sure, it's not in the hands of us. One of the points of Judaism, the first Jew, whose name was Abraham, he came to the world to spread out this message. The message is that there is a creator, there is an absolute value, and this absolute creator, this absolute value is ultimately good, but it requires from us a responsibility to realize that the world is not ours, that God put the present moment totally into our hands. But what's going to be the outcome, what's going to be the result, that's only in the hands of God. So there's no reason to be anxious about the future. Of course, you have to be responsible for the future, but you're not anxious and uptight about what's going to be the results, because in any case, the results are not in your control. And similarly, we can say the same thing about the past. Things that have happened to us in the past, they certainly are not in our control. The best that we can do regarding the past is understand that everything that happened, happened because it had to have happened, because it was supposed to have happened. If I personally made any mistakes, so I have to learn from the past. If for some reason things unfortunate happened in the past, I have to learn from them in order to improve. What could I have done better? And if after thinking and contemplating, I realize I couldn't have done anything better, then leave it alone and continue on in the future. There are people that were in the Holocaust. The whole life afterwards, they kept repeating in their minds the terrible things that they saw. Bad enough that they were destroyed by what happened, they continue to destroy themselves in the future. They carry it with them constantly. The past is certainly not in our hands. The future is also not in our hands. But God did put the present moment totally into our hands. And what will help us is if we attach ourselves to eternal values, positive values, the values of love, the values of honesty, values of care, the values of being sensitive, patience. If we are able to acquire these values, then the present moment will be in a totally different way. We'll be much more calm. We'll be much more attached to the truth, to the reason why we're here, instead of just the fact that we are here. And then the world can be a totally different world. So that was the Rebbe's message to this man. Your child is not yours. Don't get angry at him. Because anger is something that is not prescribed by the Torah. It's not prescribed by our conscience. Love is prescribed by our conscience. To build, to be positive, not to be destructive. Those are things that our conscience tells you that life is valuable, life is important. Our conscience is what attaches us to our true life, to the source of life. And that's what the Torah is, in order to direct our conscience so that we are perceiving the proper things and directing it in a way that we can feel positive things in life. And that really, as we'll talk about in the next chapter, is in a way the secret of meaning, the meaning of life.